Welcome to We Keep It Moving with Marsha Jews, and we are here with Steven Nikiru Richardson, and we're very excited to have you here. And we're live from Rio de Janeiro,
All
Brazil.
right, all
What?
right. To the
What?
bank.
To the bank, man. What? It's so good to see you. It's been too long.
Yes, yes.
It's been
Thank you.
too long. But you know what's so wonderful? I was having a problem trying to get online. So I don't know what was going on here. But we're here now. And
Yeah,
let's just talk about who you are. And we want to hear from you. One,
yeah.
how you created this amazing jewelry company and that you're
Yes,
dealing with metals, fine metals, gold, platinum, silver, your diamonds, you're dealing with jewels. What was going on in your life, Stephen,
yeah,
that
yeah.
created this environment for you to have um, the wherewithal to want to bring to the world this high level of watches and jewelry? What was happening? What?
Yes, yes. I started in Baltimore, and my passion was in the arts. So, area called Cross Street Market area,
Hmm.
Federal Hill.
Yes.
I opened up an African art store in '95, and from there I started collecting art, and then I started putting some different jewelry in the shop, and then different vendors would come through, and Emerson Hogan was one of the vendors, and they would sell me different jewelry, and I said, you know what, I want something a little different, you know.
Mhm.
He said, well, I can design what you want, and so that kind of got me into it, from the arts into the jewelry, and then Mr. Hogan took me under his wing and started teaching me the trade.
Mhm. So,
Yes.
so you went from using a normal canvas in the arts. You were painting, drawing. What part of the arts were you?
So I was collecting African art,
Mhm.
and I started filling up my home. So I had masks, I had chairs, I had many different things, tall statues. And I said, you know what, let me open a store. So that was the art side of it. So I was more on the curating side. I had some paintings, but I just had a passion of love of studying the arts, knowing the different tribes and things where pieces came from and the energy that they represent. So that was my drive
Mm.
from the arts.
So did you go to Africa or other countries to really get a sense of who they were, or were you going to museums? What was it that brought this level
Mhm.
of intimacy into figures that look like us?
Yeah, right there in Baltimore, it was a guy named Fish. He's still around. I shouldn't say name Fish. A guy named Fish. He had an African art store, and I rode past one day, and I looked inside. So he just started explaining all the different tribes and all the. So I'd never been to particularly what you call Africa. I've been to Israel, which is
Mhm.
really part of Africa, but um, all my studies came from the vendors that was coming from Africa. It was coming from New York area, by the way of West Africa, Guinea, Togo, and they would said we would have coffee and tea or whatever, and so it was more of a ritual style. They would stay 2 3 hours. I would buy art, and they would explain it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah,
So you've seen these masks, and clearly you have a passion for our history in Africa and that area, right? The Middle East, that showed you um, that showed you what was possible in
mm,
converting these what are they made out of, natural items, right? So
yeah,
they're made
yes,
out of trees, they're made out of
wood,
wood,
yeah,
they're made out of
Yes.
flowers. They're made out of these things. And so now you've taken this very delicacy and turned
Yes.
it into another delicacy. So how did you make that transition to go from the beautiful mask and the canvas to the metal and
Yes.
the metal itself? So where did you find your gold? And ladies and gentlemen, I want
No pun intended. You go.
right, right, right,
Pun
right,
intended.
right, 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 right. But let me say this. Stephen makes watches out of platinum and gold and silver.
Yes.
And he uses the most intricate designs possible for the face of your watches, right?
Yes. Yes.
And to the level that it's almost like a painting inside the face of a watch, really.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Artwork. Yes.
It
Yes. Yes.
is. It is.
Yes.
Now, I hope you have something behind you to show pictures of the artwork that you've done, these watches. If they get the
Sure.
newsletter, they'll be able to see it. Do you mind taking the time to show us some of the watches? And then let's talk about those
Sure.
levels and all of the pieces and what it takes. I'm so fascinated by this. And when I met you,
Yeah.
I didn't see all the intricacies, but like this that I've been
Yeah.
seeing that are levels. Are you ready?
Yes. 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 Yeah. I want to ask you a question. But the foundation was the jewelry.
Hmm.
Silver jewelry was the gateway into the precious metals world.
Okay.
And Emerson Hogan again was the teacher, and he started teaching me how to make it. But the watches came later on. I went from silver jewelry to gold jewelry, then diamond jewelry, making a lot of engagement rings. So the jewelry industry has so many facets.
Okay.
And so speeding up to the watches was my entry really in the watch game. About I was selling other watches, high end watches first, Rolexes and so on, and then I started designing my own in about 2000. So right now I'm in Rio de Janeiro. I'm sitting at my workbench. So I'll just give you just a little tour of right here what's on my bench.
Okay.
So um,
Oh, I love it.
So, we have here, I have a piece that's completely disassembled. Um, it's another piece I'm working on. Let me just try to take this top
So
off.
these are the insides of each one of these watches.
Yes, so
That
these are the mechanics. These are the mechanics of the timepiece. This is a silver case. So we made the silver case and I
you
stone
made
tint.
this, you made the silver case yourself? Or
Yes, we made the silver case. And you put the sapphire crystal. This is another piece I'm working on. So this is actually no face, is no dial. It's
okay.
all mechanics. So what I do, I disassemble all the mechanics. I start modifying it by cutting it, and then I come up with a unique design. Like this one's called Crazy Eyes. This eye actually moves
Can
and
you turn
rotates.
it? Can you turn it just a little bit? They're getting a glare just a little bit towards me, towards the screen. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one called Crazy Eyes. So this eyes rotate. So it's basically it's a painting and a sculpture
Oh,
and a timepiece, all in one,
wow.
you know.
So
So
so when you let's back up a little bit. It's a painting and a timepiece. So when you look at this as a painting, you're
yes,
you're coming out of your own brain, right? This creativity is yours. That
yes,
you're making these pieces fit not just from a mechanical standpoint as a typical everyday watch, but you've now created in all these little intricate pieces. That one piece, can you go back one more time, because
sure.
I'm really loving this, Stephen. I hope everybody else is. Oh, okay, right there. It's get a little closer with your camera. Yes, there we go. What is all of that? Though, is that what makes it turn? What turns it on, or what happens with that
Yes.
on the
So
inside?
so over here is your stem, and that's where you change your time. So as you pull that out, you're able to rotate and change the hour to time.
Okay.
And then this is a manual wind. So you actually wind it up. And over here is where your train wheel system kicks in. And that's your second hand. So that's this right here is connected to the power. It's like a spring in there, heavy spring. And when you wind it up and release it, it kicks into all of these gears
Mm,
that's in the back of the
okay.
timepiece. And that's your train wheel gears, and then that releases right into the balance wheel. So, this is engineering, art,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sculpturing, all meeting together. And so, I just really, enjoy. This is your hour wheel. So, you can see how I like to play with the different colors and things.
So,
And
are these metals, you're getting them already in that tan color, or do you paint them, or how do
yeah,
you?
so this particular um movement is a Swiss movement,
Okay.
and and you see this gray. It comes in this is the main plate, so it comes in a basic assembled piece, and then what I do, I buy the Swiss mechanism and I disassemble it. So I have some other mechanisms that I make in-house, and they're much more expensive, and they take much more time, and they are made out of precious metals. Like these mechanisms is just made out of steel and brass,
Okay.
but the in-house mechanisms are made out of silver, platinum, and other precious metals. So that goes up to a whole nother level, you
S-
know.
So let's talk about that. When you talk
Yeah.
about having silver and platinum inside, these are the gears and things on the inside of the
Yes,
watch, right?
yes,
And
yes.
so how do you actually get into, how do you find, I didn't even know that they made gears and things that are made out of that level, at that high level of mechanism, right?
Mhm.
How did you find them? What made you decide that you wanted to put platinum inside as a gear versus
Yeah.
just the front of the face or something, right?
Sure, sure. We have to make them. We have to make these parts. So there's no supplier that has these gears. All the suppliers are steel or brass because they use cheaper components. My concept was using precious metals. For one, precious metals it's gonna last much longer.
Okay.
So pure platinum, pure gold, 18 karat, so it's not gonna rust like your steel or your brass.
Hmm.
So the whole concept of being a watchmaker is how to create a timepiece that's gonna stand the test of time. So
Timeless.
now, exactly. So now you use high quality materials,
Hmm.
and that's when that incorporates in there. And then what happened was when I started using these materials, these watches has a tick.
Right.
Um, the sound actually changed.
What do you
If
mean?
you hit what a ticking, but because the jewels are hitting like the escapement wheel and the pallet fork, is coming together and is making that tick sound.
Okay. Okay.
And that is sending vibrations throughout the movement, throughout the watch. So when you change the component into a precious metal, silver gives off a certain tone. These are high frequency tones.
Wow.
Gold gives off a certain tone, which is a very high frequency tone, and
Mm.
platinum as well. So you changing the molecular structure, the energy of the actual timepiece, and it becomes more of a healing mechanism.
Wait a minute. The molecular energy. Back up.
Yes.
Let talk about that, because that I'm not I love that everybody. I want Black people to be in STEM, but your girl ain't no
Yeah.
engineer, like for real.
That's all
So,
right.
so, but what does that mean
Mm-hmm.
to take that molecular? That's at a whole nother level, atom kind of level, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. So you have the platinum group, which is PT 78, and gold, which is AU 79. So again, I was talking about the tones. So the atoms, for example, silver, I can have the same case and silver, which it is in silver, and it would weigh just approximately 40 grams.
Mm.
I will make the same exact size case and platinum, and the weight will be double. So you're looking at a gravity pull when you're talking about the molecular structure. So there's different ways of behavior, so to speak, these metals work. So what happens in the timepiece is a plus because it's active.
Okay.
So the timepiece is moving at 5 beats a second. So this timepiece here is beating 5 beats a second. And I don't know where the mic is, but I wish I can get the tick going. But anyway,
Okay, that's okay.
yeah. Anyway, so what happens is, and that's called a 2.5 hertz.
Mhm.
So is for every 1 hertz, it beats twice within a second, or it beats twice. If it's 1 hertz, it beats twice within a second. So this is 2.5 hertz.
Okay.
And that vibration is called delta waves. So that's
just the movement of it.
Just the movement. And
Okay.
then when you add the material, it amplifies that because silver gives off a sing, it hums, it's a vibration, it's a high frequency. So when you're wearing a timepiece, it puts you in a state of delta waves, which is a very focused, concentrated, and relaxed state of being. So, we as Nikiru started working on other reasons why people should invest into timepieces. Because you're dealing with a new age right now.
Right.
Yes.
But
yes.
but this frequency, that I'm fascinated by it, right?
Yeah.
And once the watch has been completed,
yes,
there's still a frequency that's happening, not as loud as it is as you're making it, but can you feel that pulse when you're wearing it?
Yes. So what's happening, your subconscious automatically picks it up. So it's very subtle. So what we do when we the client is waiting for a timepiece to be made, we actually consultate them, and we have a whole package that comes together and gives their consciousness, like, this is happening, this is what the hertz is doing, this is going on. So when they acknowledge of that, it's your subconscious meeting your conscious, and that's when the energy happens. That's
Wait
when the
a
magic.
Wait a minute. Stephen, did you know, I think you're a bad brother, but this is a whole new level right here, is what we're talking about,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
This is a whole new level, and I don't want us to bypass that and take this lightly.
Yes.
Okay? Because you clearly had to study this to get. So what were you studying to get to the point of understanding how these mechanisms can do a higher vibration? We've talked about that. When people are, usually it's coming out of an Asian environment where there's some sort of, be it sitting down and being still and meditation, it's kind of that, right? Is that, am I somewhere in the same? Same Bailey?
You're right there, and where it came from, that is the reason I got into watchmaking. I went to see one of my teachers one day, and it was very early in the morning. It was in New York, and I came in. This particular teacher's from Russia, so I said, it was like 7 in the morning. So anyway, he said he was working on a watch. And he said, give me an hour.
Mm.
That's all he said. But when he looked at me, his eyes were so innocent. It was like a child. And I said, wow. And I realized when he was working on that timepiece, he loved coming in early in the morning. It was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a meditative state because you're right there
Mm-hmm.
and you're focused. So you actually go into a fourth dimension. So that's where it started from, of me working for hours, being in a meditative state, listening to the tick, bringing it together, problem solving. And then as we started teaching and wrote curriculums on horology and the science of studying time, I just kept studying and graduating. I kept looking at this mechanism. I said, all these companies, Cartier, Rolex,
Right.
Breitling, they'll say, okay, the movement is 5 hertz, so this vibrations per hour, so on and so on. But that would, after that, they just giving you the techno data of the mechanism. They're not explaining what is really going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
The depth of
the
it.
depth of it. So I said, let
Yes.
me dive in because
Mm-hmm.
I'm an independent brand. I'm always looking for angles
Right.
to have my clients say, well, that's interesting. I never looked at that. So now we have the science reason of buying a timepiece, the healing reason of buying a timepiece,
Mm-hmm.
the investment reason of buying a timepiece, and we tie all this stuff together.
So when somebody gets one of these watches, do you have any of them handy that you finished that we can see up close that have the
Sure,
vibrations that we
sure,
could
sure,
have a couple of examples that you can share with us?
sure. Let me pull out.
Take your time. Take your time. And I can talk to you because you can hear me and I can hear you.
Yeah,
So when you started doing this and you were clearly taking notes and for historical reasons while you were doing all of this development, when people receive these watches now, do you give them some sort of booklet or book or something that tells them more in depth about it for their
yes,
child?
yes. They get a complete package. They get an equity card, which we
What's an equity
guarantee.
card?
Equity card is, let me see if I have one here. We guarantee, say you pay 10,000 for this timepiece, and it's on our website, nkirugroup.com,
Spell it.
and
Oh,
NKIRU
hmm,
group.com.
okay.
And you can put that up if you like. And what happens if you pay 10,000 for the timepiece, you get a silver card with that. And that silver card states that at any given time you can get it has 65% equity in it,
Okay.
guaranteed. And so you can trade it in, sell it back to us for 6,500 or get a $6,500 loan. So it's a built-in guaranteed equity. And we're one of the, I don't know any other watch
Wait
company
a
that's
minute.
got.
Wait a minute. So you go say that again because it didn't. I'm trying to find a place in my brain for this to fit. I've never heard of this before.
Sure. So this is the finance side. So when people invest into timepieces, they always say, well, I invest into this, I invest into that. So we took the investment and said, okay, how can we guarantee the client investment?
Okay.
How can we create a floor if they're paying 10 or 20,000? So they pay 20,000 for this piece here. Just say that
Okay.
they paid 20,000 for that.
Are those diamonds?
These are rubies.
Rubies.
These are rubies.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Thank you. These are rubies. And say 6 months later, they have a option for investment. They say, oh, you know what? I have equity in my timepiece. Let me call Nikiru. Fine. Send a timepiece to New York. We'll check it out. It's authentic. Okay. Marsha, how much would you like? It's 6,000. Boom. You'll have 6,000 wired to your account within 24 hours. And you'll pay a monthly fee and while we hold the watch. And then when you're ready to pick it up, your wire the funds will ship the watch back to you. So it's portable real estate.
Wow.
So
and so
yeah.
and those prices range from what to what?
Right now, I have timepieces I make from 5,000 up to 280,000. Right now,
$280.
thousand. 280,000. Quarter of
So
a million. Yes.
so what does a quarter of a million watch look like?
The
What's on
mechanics.
it?
The mechanics is all precious metals.
Uh-huh.
And the case is platinum. This is a platinum case right here. So
Mhm.
it's completely precious metals, and you're looking at about a year worth of work of going into it
Just to make that one watch.
just to make that one watch. Yes.
So for a platinum watch that costs as much as a house, right?
Yes. Yes.
What are the layers of that? So we've got a platinum base.
Yes.
Something's happening within that mechanism. What are all those gears and things made of? And then you've got a face, and then you've got what? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This is a silver piece. This is called the Instrumental 8.
Okay.
And so we make this in platinum. And on the back, you'll see the chakra system, which is green, the heart chakra. So this piece in platinum will start at about 24,000 because we use a Swiss movement in this. But
why do you use a Swiss movement in that one?
So this is an automatic. So we make a manual wind in house. We haven't made an automatic, where you shake it like the Rolex and it keeps time. Okay. So we wanted to make a platinum timepiece that's a little bit more affordable. So we have these ranges, but the high-end one, the complete mechanisms, the hour wheel will be made of platinum. The setting lever, all of these different components that comes together and make up the timepiece will be made in platinum. This is the train wheel bridge here. So the jewels in it, you'll see the little red rubies in it. So they hold the gears in place.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Where are the rubies? Are those in the middle, the little three together? Are those the rubies?
Yes,
where are the rubies?
Those are rubies. Yes.
Okay, nobody see the rubies.
Well, the rubies are made for function to hold the gears in place.
Now see, I know, but who thinks of a precious stone to be a placeholder for these metals, right?
Yes.
So how did you even? And I know I'm taking you off where we are, but it's fascinating. How did you start thinking about putting rubies there? Why rubies to fit?
Well, that's a traditional. That's a traditional in watchmaking. The rubies are there because you have metal there, and basically what's happening here is this is the metal and this is the ruby holding the bearing into place, used as a bearing, holding the gear into place. And you don't want two pieces that's metal because it's going to wear. So the ruby reduces friction, and you have a little oil in there as well.
So because it's a stone, really.
Absolutely, it's very smooth, and the hardness is on the Mohs scale is like a 9. So it's not gonna. It works in harmony with metal.
Okay.
and
Okay.
instead of creating friction, metal against metal.
How did you learn about that? Where did you
Well,
learn that? It's
this is all
understood?
part of this is all part of being in, horology and studying. I studied in New York. I studied with masters. I studied in Switzerland. So I didn't go to any traditional school. I just studied with people that they call master watchmakers.
But what happened to make you just, this is a whole nother route that you would
Mm,
get into that goes to this level, Stephen. This
mm,
isn't typical. I really, I
sure,
mean, that this is an extreme. What were
sure.
you thinking as a, how long ago was this that you started doing this? Your
The watches in 99 20, and
Mhm.
then the jewelry about 94 95. I got into the jewelry. Yeah,
Mhm. So,
yeah.
in looking at that, that took
Mm,
you into just doing the research to find the people who were doing that. So, this
sure.
is not traditional. You did not take a traditional route at all.
No, no, no. I'm not that kind of guy. So, that's why I'm here in Brazil. It's continuous study. Life is school for me,
Okay.
and that's how I look at things.
So, are you in taking courses, or is there something that's in Brazil that made you go there from from the business standpoint, or from an educational standpoint, or just because you just wanted to live in Brazil for a minute?
In 2001, I came here for the first time to study gemology, and because it's a lot of stones, the mines are here. It's a lot of precious metal
Mm,
mines. So the
okay.
business is flourish here. The jewelry business, the watch business. It's on a level of it's one of the meccas. You have New York, London, you have Brazil, you have Asia. So this is one of the meccas.
Hmm.
So and then of course the weather. So
Yeah, right.
yeah. So that's one of the drives. So I'm taking courses again, just
Mhm,
with being in the industry and pushing the envelope forward of my designs, of my understanding, and experimenting.
mhm.
Yes.
So in that experimentation, you get into your lab, and what are you doing? Looking at or trying different metals with different stones, or what is it when you're going in there and like a scientist stirring the pot and trying to different colors or trying something new? How are you mixing all of this information? Because it sounds like you get ready to create something new.
Sure, sure, sure.
D- eh,
Well, we're launching the instrumental eight, the whole energy system, But it's just all dealing with nature. It's a lot of nature here. I'm planting here.
Mhm,
I'm growing different stuff. So for me, that's where my inspiration comes from being in nature,
mhm.
going to the beach or whatever. So, and then the idea comes, and then you just come and you play with it. You write it down, and that's how I was able to. I wrote two books here, and the I Am Rich is
Yes.
the one I wound up publishing. So this is an outlet to decompress
Mhm,
and to
mhm.
really express and get things out. Yes,
So in looking in this expression, and
yes.
as you're doing this research and allowing, I call it allowing your brain to breathe, right? Because
Mhm.
you're in this wonderful space, right?
Yes.
What do you think when you look at over your life, the top 5 things that you would like to accomplish moving forward?
Moving forward, hmm. Well, I think I'm in the motion of it. It's for me. It's everything is always in the motion
Uh-huh.
of it unfolding. You
Mm,
know. Um, so I am accomplishing um, getting the word out about precious metals. That's what we are doing right here. I am accomplishing teaching and learning.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just continuous, but just going to different levels in it. And because I don't know exactly, I always say this, is that we don't have no idea how much we can use and work with precious metals because it's
Mm.
technology. We
Mhm.
couldn't have this Zoom call without silver, gold, and platinum.
Hmm.
That's what the computers are made of. And
Mhm.
that's what holds all the information and creates electric current and all of these things. So there's so many applications. So I'm just gonna stay on that yellow brick road, which
Right.
is the gold road,
Uh-huh.
and keep going and keep digging and keep exploring. So that's what I can tell you.
So so are there any other black people doing what you do?
There are some in New York I've met. Is doing it at different levels. Again, some people
Mhm.
just focus on custom jewelry, engagement rings. There's so many facets to this
Right.
industry,
Right.
and but there's not many, and there's no black coalition of jewelers.
Oh,
None that I
really?
know of. None that I know
Really?
of.
Oh, I
None
wonder
that
why that is.
I'm not sure, because they are engineers and things of that nature, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Maybe that's
Hmm.
something we should explore. So
Yeah.
if
I mean,
anyone is
that's
listening out there, then they
right.
know anything about that, let us know.
Well, I think that's an offshoot of an engineering program, right? So,
Sure.
right? So
Yes.
there's something beyond just a telephone or a computer. We're now
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about all the mechanisms and all the gears and things. Somebody's got to create those. And, if you're going
Sure.
to do them in a mass environment, but also if you don't even, people don't know what they don't know, right?
Sure.
So
Yes.
if folks haven't seen this, people don't know that this actually occurs, then it's impossible for them to have it. Would you
Yeah.
even be of the mind in thinking about, or do you ever use students to come in, interns? Have you ever used interns?
We ran a program in New York for years, the Art of Horology. We started in 2008, and we started at the YMCA in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Wow.
We ran after school programs at Benjamin Banneker Academy, different schools in Yonkers. So we have exposed a great amount of students to horology.
Hmm.
And I would run in my workshop in the summertime, three, four students at a time, and because I had a small shop on 47th Street. So we did a long, nice run, and we created a online app of assembling watches,
Oh,
and
really?
you can find that at inkarugroup.com and click on philanthropy, and you'll see that program.
Hmm.
Yes.
What would you tell young people? We have a partnership here with a organization called Career Communications Group, and they now
Sure.
have a metaverse called STEM City.
Sure.
So it
Sure.
and this is being uh, presented in STEM City as one of the outlets that
Yes.
we're on, one of the
Yeah,
platforms that we're
sure.
on. And
Great.
so when we look at all of the people from literally all over, because these
Yeah.
people are in the STEM field, this might
Yes.
be of a very interesting program for some of those young people that
Sure.
they're doing things with. Maybe we could consider talking to the people about you running a class in STEM
Sure.
City.
Sure.
I didn't ask anybody, but I just think it would be a great idea. So we're
Sure.
just gonna
Sure.
have.
Sure.
I think it would be wonderful because they
Sure.
have young people that attend um,
Yes.
the Black Engineer of the Year Awards conference, the Women of
Yes.
Color STEM
Yeah.
conference. So
Yeah.
I think this would. I would love to have you involved somehow, and I'm sure that
Sure.
somebody over there would be interested. And I think that Miss Dr. Doc would be more than happy to do that.
Sure.
Give me 5 things. I'm into 5 today. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
5 things that you would tell a young person who's maybe in junior high school,
Yes.
right? What should they be doing in terms of, this is a STEM thing, right? So
Sure.
what should they be looking at going forward?
I would say the first thing is whatever they interested in, relate it back to themselves. So when we wrote our curriculum and with a principal and a teacher, they said everything had to connect. I said, well, you don't teach like that. They said, I know. They said, but everything needs to connect. And that's how it's an old African way of learning. So I would say relate. So when I would teach mechanical watchmaking, I would relate that to the human body. You know, you have your
How so?
heart. You have the heart, so you have the beat of the mechanical movement.
Mm.
You know, you have the different rotations and those. So I would relate it. So I would say definitely first thing, relate anything that you're studying back to yourself.
Mm.
And that would create empowerment. And then 2, you would empower yourself so you won't keep looking outside of yourself to be empowered. You'll be able to relate that. 3, I would say if you want to study, you you really need to look at finance and what is money, because in this monetary system, you every day that you're spending money, no matter what you're doing, but there's no real outlet to teach you about that and what is real money. So I would definitely tell them study precious metals because that is real money.
That's real money.
That's real money. And maybe 4 and 5 is do not waste time spending money on college.
What? Now you
Yeah.
getting ready to implode and
Well,
blow up. Wait,
I have
what?
to speak. I have to speak the truth, you know, because you're talking to the kids here, and things are
Okay.
changing. I would
All right.
say, I would say, take spend that money and take a trade. Be a plumber. Be something that you can, or whatever, something that you can put your hands on and fix something.
Why is that
Because
important?
that is what drives humanity, manufacturing or whatever, even if it's a computer or whatever. You know, politicians and things, they don't drive. It's the people that's behind the scenes. It's people that made this light, that fix this light, that can keep it on, the refrigerator, the water, the filtering system. You know, all of these things keep the machine, the clock running. So I would say if you want to make money, get a good trade and you'll get a job real quick and you won't be in debt. Okay.
Or you could open up your own business.
But you can open up your own business as well. And the key thing is not getting in debt for education that is free today.
Where is
So
it free? It's free.
well, it's free is because you can Google anything and you can get on that road and the rest is discipline and guides.
Hmm.
And that's how I learned. I seeked out the guides and I grew. And the guys put me on that road, said study gold, study AU 79. And I went in and started studying the electrons and protons and neutrons. So be responsible for your own education.
So you, from all of that, all of these pieces that we're talking about and all of the mechanisms that we've seen today, you basically did that research on your own to get to where you are right now.
Yeah, yes, with a guide, with training, But after that, it's just all about the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All about the discipline. And it's
Yeah.
also about how you see yourself, right? How do you see yourself and where you see yourself going? And the discipline to even understand what you see when you see yourself. If that
Yes.
makes any Did that make any sense? But I think too often we get sidetracked. There are a
Yes.
lot of things in the way, disturbances that are around us. You talk about vibration in the watch, but
Sure.
there are vibrations that are going on around us that take us off of the journey that we too often need to be on.
Yes. Yeah. These are distractions, and I spent the most part of 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, and
Hmm.
19 and 19 with no cell phone.
Hmm. How'd you do
Okay.
that?
Well, I had a landline,
Hmm.
and I used a tablet to run my transactions, and my computer to run my transactions. But when I was out, I wasn't looking down at my phone. I was focused in on whoever I was talking to. And that can be a whole nother conversation.
That is.
So yeah, so I would suggest, if they have a cell phone, try to leave it home at least 3 to 4 times a week when they're going out. And they would find a tremendous empowerment. And you would have the advantage over the average person, because they're like this, going in and out of this frequency, and into this other the 2 dimension. We're in a 2 dimension right now,
Right.
so it's so dense. So it's so many advantages of studying self, and you will be forced to communicate, and you'll be forced to look at nature, and you'll be forced to understand more about yourself. Can I do this? Why am I edgy? Why am I depressed?
Mm-hmm.
All of that would just begin to kind
Mm-hmm.
of balance out, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So these are the challenges.
And that's taking time, and there's a lot of distractions in taking us off of our too often taking us off of our mission, right?
Yes.
Because we
Yeah.
get sidetracked sometimes with other people's agendas,
Sure.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's next for the company? How are you moving through? Do you see yourself on a new creation, or is there something that you have that's germinating, or sitting on the side that's populating? What are you going to do next with this? Because I don't think you've stopped. I think there's more.
No, with the watch company relaunching, this is a rebirth of Inkiru right now.
Okay.
So you're gonna see a lot of changes. We have models here that we're working with. We have some videos. So I haven't really started reflecting the lifestyle of Inkiru and being in Brazil and this hot climate and this beautiful
Mhm.
scenery. So you're gonna see a lot of that on our Instagram that's popping up under I Am Rich at our
Okay.
Instagram. So and then just diving into this whole thing about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all that. And they always ask me to compare gold to Bitcoin. So you're
Yes.
gonna see some videos that's gonna come out, and I'm gonna be talking about things of that nature.
So what about this NFT?
Mhm. Again, these are things that's in the 2 dimension, and uh, again, precious metals is an application of that.
But you design them, so that's also part of it, right?
I
So
don't
that
design it. I don't design NFTs. I
no, no,
design the
no, no.
timepiece.
You
Yes.
design the timepieces, but
Yeah, I don't design the
there
timepieces.
may
So
be a natural progression to go over there because of that design.
sure, sure. And that's for people that's in that field. And
Mhm.
if you're in that field, by all means, I have a lot of images and I invite you to use some, and but I'm not interested in it,
All right,
but by
you're
all
very
means,
clear.
if you have a person that's in that field and they want to share profits, by all means, I have plenty of photos and videos.
All right, I'll keep that in mind because
Yes,
this seems to be the new hotness. Every time I look around, I see something. So we only have a couple of minutes left. This has really
yes,
been a joy, and it's wonderful catching up with you.
yes.
If you could tell us what you'd like for us to do, how can we support you, and what else can we do for you?
Well, can you put up the link to the book? I
Um,
am rich. Or we gonna talk about that?
he has I Am Rich on IG
Yeah.
that he's put up, and he's got the nikrugroup.com.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I Am Rich is the book up there.
So it's iamrich.nyc. That is the website to the book. And
NYC.
yeah, dot
Okay.
nyc. iamrich.nyc. And it's a book on precious metals. And that is one of the drives that the catalyst of educating. That is our new school right there.
Okay. All
That
right.
is our gateway to to our new school because again, people are it's so many things going on with this crypto and different things, and it's so confusing, and we need to get back home to precious
Mm,
metal.
okay.
You know, so that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're driving on.
All
Yes,
right, sir. Well, we've come to the end. I can't believe an hour's up already. Thank
yes,
you so much. I
yes,
appreciate you taking the
yeah,
time. This has been very interesting,
sure,
and we're going to stay in touch and
yeah.
see what else you're up to.
All right. Thank you
Make
for
sure you
having me.
keep us updated. Make certain I get all
Yeah,
your information.
thank you.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Okay. Thank you, Steven Richardson, who is the owner of nikirugroup.com and iamrich.nyc. Please follow up and make certain that you think about Nikiru when you're thinking about watches and holiday and birthday gifts. All right. This is Marsha Juice for WKIM. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Good night.